we still got more time. We still got a little bit more to talk about. I want to run through the midfield ahead of this weekend, taking a look at what happened last weekend. We're just going to talk about whatever's relevant, whatever's prevalent in the midfield. Starting off with Williams. Alex Albon had a hell of a drive in Spa, P6. We'll start with your boys. But then Carlos Sainz still weathering his transition. Alex Albon leading the way, of course, with this team. 54 points to Sainz, 16, total of 70. Sainz in an interview with Dazen, he had some criticisms of the team that he, felt were pretty founded. You could say maybe, from your position, maybe you shouldn't be saying some of these things, but to quote him, we're not operating at the level we should be operating at in Formula One. Just some silly problems that we have to keep improving as a team, and we will, but we do see that when strange things don't happen, we are there in the fight, and we have to keep fighting. A little bit optimistic towards the end.
Look, I'll say this. It's a little interesting coming from Sainz because Sainz was the big ad. He was the big signing. He was the big, hey,
he was the
crap,
big name that wasn't Lewis Hamilton last year.
Yeah, the Williams got Carlos Sainz. Like, holy crap, they actually did this. But Alex Albon has been the better driver this year.
He's been a dog. I mean,
you can split it however you want. Alex Albon has been the better driver in a Williams car this year.
Yes.
So I think that Sainz may be deflecting a little bit to a point where it's like, look, he just has not had a season that he would like to say. Like, he hasn't had the season he'd like to have. And he's definitely upset about it. He's getting outperformed by his teammate. So Carlos is definitely pissed. But you can't sit here and be like, "Oh, we're not functioning as a Formula One team when you're fifth, and the constructors' points when you
probably shouldn't be. If we're being
probably
honest.
shouldn't be like seventh, and your teammates putting the car in sixth, and you're finishing 18th.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe there's a car difference. Maybe there's a situational difference where Albon's car is tuned perfectly and Carlos is still struggling, but you can't say that as a whole where it's like, oh, Williams is not operating correctly. No, nobody believes that. James Vowles just got extended. Albon's a dog in the car. Like, Williams is putting Formula One on notice necessarily, but they're in the midst of a turnaround. They're in the midst of a turnaround. Yes.
Yeah, they're ahead of
schedule. So Carlos Sainz,
and they're performing well.
Sainz can't sit here and be like, oh, we've got problems that we need to figure out. No, like, Sainz is having a bad year, and he's just going to have to figure it out. He's going to have to turn it around.
Outside of being a member of a championship-winning team, he has been around the block. He was a Toro Rosso product. Went up into McLaren, spent plenty of time at Ferrari. That's pretty much one of the pinnacles of the sport, right? And now he's with Williams, so he's spent plenty of time in different systems. He's driven pretty much every engine there is, right? I think at a certain level, he's reacclimating to life with Williams. This is definitely not at the same level of Ferrari, and I don't think there are very many operations that are close to that level.
Yeah.
And he understands they're in a rebuild. But yeah, so far his transition's taken a little bit longer. I think that the expectations for probably himself, but also the community and even us, was that he was going to walk in and be right at the same level as Alex Albon. And Alex Albon is proving, I think Alex Albon's proving a lot of people wrong in that, oh, he's a good midfield driver, but maybe he's just not at that level. Alex Albon, even through the moments where he's been crying and screaming at people on the radio, has shown that he belongs and that he is a really, really, really talented driver, and he's really come into his own. But there's some big changes. It's going to take more time than you expect if you're Carlos Sainz. Just be a part of the process. Be open to learning. Don't be so critical in the media, I would say.
I would definitely say that.
Though. Yeah, let's walk through the midfield a little bit more, though, because I know we got other things we got to get doing, and I know you guys also have things to do. V-Carb, a tale of two very different days for Isaac Hadjar. He went from who went P8 in the sprint and then finished in dead last place in the feature race. Hadjar seems eager to get to Hungary and, get back on track, so to speak.
Yeah, and that sucks for our boy Hadjar because we were kind of just giving him props a couple of weeks ago, and it's like, hey, no one's talking about Hadjar, and so we started talking about Hadjar and put the commentator's curse on him, it seems.
And then Liam Lawson, by the way, landed a very quiet P8 in the feature race. Looks like he's a lot more at home with VCarb than the senior team, landing in the points last 2 out of 3 races. So Liam Lawson's gotten a lot more comfortable. Mind you, interesting little tidbit of information. Liam Lawson has outscored Yuki Tsunoda.
Yeah, I mean, I don't find that entirely surprising. Yuki he's struggled, but he's done enough to keep the seat.
I think that's a conversation for another day.
Well, I'm not saying for future, and I just think there's too much movement at Red Bull. There's too many.
You're not going to do back and forth.
That's what I'm saying. They're not going to make it. They're not going to do anything this year. Like, hey, Yuki, it's your seat until the end of the year, and then
just see what happens.
Figure it out in 26 and beyond.
I mentioned Aston Martin a little bit earlier in the podcast. Weekend to forget for them. 0 points across both formats, and the worst qualifying performance in team history. P19 for Fernando Alonso, P24 Lance Stroll. Aero trouble, wing
Call
trouble.
That the Cuban curse.
Everything was just not working for them. So I think they're probably looking at Hungary and just hoping that it gets better.
I want to talk about this for a sec because I was like, I'm going to go on a limb. I want to get P10 points, baby. I'm picking Fernando Alonso. Ever since he said he's the unluckiest driver in the world, I was like, he's kind of done a lot. He's been better every week. I was like, I'm feeling a P10. And what does he do?
P17. Bad weekend to pick Fernando Alonso.
I just kept watching him trickle down the order. I'm like, damn it.
Not ideal. Then let's move on to Haas really quickly. Team principal Aya Komatsu feeling really confident ahead of the Hungarian Grand Prix that I was reading anyway. High downforce nature, twisting turns. He likened it a lot to the Monaco Grand Prix where they had a lot of success. Ollie Bearman, also a big fan of the Hungaroring, as well as Esteban Ocon, who grabbed his only F1 win here in 2021. So Haas might be somebody to watch this weekend, as you consider your P10 picks, Kevin Walker. Yeah, maybe. And then looking at Alpine, another tough weekend for them in Belgium. Franco Colapinto's seat has to be absolutely scorching hot at this point. Jack Doohan.
He's getting butt burns.
Jack Doohan is right there, just waiting to get back in the seat on the sidelines. Valtteri Bottas is a name that's been thrown around a lot in the driver's market, next to the Alpine as well.
Well, maybe. I think we know where Bottas is going.
Maybe I'll get there in a second. Stake F1 though, big weekend for Galberto Bortoleto, P9. They made a questionable decision to pit Nico Hülkenberg, in my opinion. He had a P10 lined up, and then due to some tire degradation, they decided to pit him late. Cost them an valuable extra point. Couldn't quite make it back to that P10 spot. But I think they have a shot to hover back around the P10 spots again as well. Hülkenberg telling media that the Hungaroring suits the car better. So, that might be a little bit better than we were expecting. Stake also not going to be the title sponsor for Audi in 2026. Financial tech company Revolut announcing today that's going to be the title sponsor for the Audi project beginning in 2026.
So wait, what is it going to be?
Revolt, if I'm not mistaken. Revolut is kind of how it's spelled, but I think it's probably Revolt. They're like a finance tech company, so that's going to be their title sponsor, kind of like an Oracle for Red Bull, something like that.
As long as we got one less name to say, that's all I care about. I don't want to. I'm tired of saying.
It'll still be Audi F1. That's how we're all going to remember and know it by.
And Sauber and all that.
Yeah, and then we also had a little bit of. I want to keep Cadillac in the conversation. They're going to be hitting the grid next year too. Rumors are swirling. Cadillac project. Team principal Graham Loudon still yet to announce either driver. Speculations massive around your boy Valtteri Bottas. Nico Rosberg grilling the Mercedes reserve driver of the Belgian Grand Prix weekend about whether or not he was joining the Cadillac team.
Sorry, I can't hear you.
So it seems like, he suddenly becomes deaf. It's kind of crazy.